There's some songs people need to leave alone, right?
Yeah, that's almost worthy of being at one of our favorite venues.
Like where?
Of course, the Carolina Theatre.
Oh, well, that's one of my favorite places, if not my favorite place to go. I love going there to check out the show, and we can talk to Bob, who happens to pretty much run everything over there.
You're talking Bob Nocek.
Bob Nocek.
The man.
That's right.
Okay.
How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all, Bob, man. We just keep talking about the Carolina Theatre because it is like our home when we're not in our home.
And Cliff started the show off just talking about that great exhibit you've got going on. Tell us more.
Thanks. Well, yeah, it's really exciting for us because we're hearing a lot of people talking about the Carolina Theatre. You know, we've got quite a few changes that have gone on this year, and it's really satisfying to see that. You know, the biggest and kind of the longest one has been the $1.8 million renovation of the theater that the city carried out this year. And, you know, at the same time, we've doubled our programming. But then the piece that we're going to unveil on Saturday night is the first of a series of historic exhibits throughout the building that are going to really help tell the story of the Carolina Theatre. We've invested a significant money, and we're doing some fundraising for it. And it's really high-quality, museum-quality exhibits that will help people understand why the building was built in the first place back in 1926, what it's meant to the community over the years, and just why it's so important that the Carolina Theatre, you know, be preserved and really continue to serve the community like it has.
It was just a warm fuzzy. We were talking a little earlier about the fact we got to the media event and looked around. It's like, look at our Carolina Theatre, all shined up and nice fluffy carpet, but the exhibits, my goodness.
It's such a great building, and over time, you know, as any building that's used as heavily as a performing arts center like ours is, it gets worn down, and the carpeting over time had stains and tears, and the walls hadn't been painted in about 18 years, and it was really starting to show those just the normal signs of wear and tear. And then on top of that was the damage that had happened from water over the years to the plaster in our main hall in Fletcher Hall. And so there were just really a lot of places in the building where it was starting to feel run down, and it was hard for us to see on a daily basis because we knew what it could be. And you know, so we've worked with the city, and this started well before I got here, and we've worked with them for the last few years on kind of assessing the needs and developing a plan. And as part of this, this joint renovation of all three facilities downtown, us and the Convention Center and the Durham Arts Council, we were able to get the most significant cosmetic repairs to the building that it's seen since it was first renovated in the early 90s. And so we have new carpeting. It's a historic pattern. It was really a fascinating process. There's a company in Atlanta that has this library of historic carpet patterns. So we chose a pattern from their library that was authentic to the 20s when the theater was built, and then we custom colored that with them to match the colors in the building. So it really is a one-of-a-kind carpet. We've had the building repainted from top to bottom. Our box seats are open in Fletcher Hall for the first time ever, really. We don't know for sure. We assumed that the original boxes had been opened decades earlier, but these boxes were recreations that were built in the early 90s, and they've never been opened because of some fire code issues that we were able to work through.
How about that? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so this is the first time they've been open, and they've been incredibly popular. It's so great to see guests up there. It's a great seat. You're right up above the stage, and we have a dedicated server who comes up and take your drinks orders. You don't even have to go out to the lobby to get another beer.
I thought I saw that at the lettuce.
I want one of those seats.
It is the place to be. I mean, my goodness. Bob, so now and we just attributed all the little things that were characteristic to the building to character. But now it almost looks like a new version of an older building. It has that feel of crisp, sharp, nice angles within the architecture. I don't know who the designers were that worked with you on the project, but they really took the best of and seemed to make it better. Things that you didn't notice before, you now notice they're gone, and it looks so great. So,
you know, one of the things that we did in Fletcher Hall when the time came to really look at the colors in the theater you know, the original paint that had been put up in the 90s was a faux finish. It had a texture on it. And it would have been incredibly expensive for us to try to duplicate that and bring someone in to do that for the entire hall. So we decided we were going to go with a flat paint, but what we wanted to do to make the building stand out a little more was we sort of took the extremes of the colors. So where the walls were lighter, we went to the lightest shade we could find in the faux finish. Where they were darker, we went to the darkest shade we could find. And it really just accentuates the highlights and makes things contrast a little more. And to see the gold restored, you know, that just, you can see that shine throughout the hall. It's just really, it's just so great to be in there to see it.
Now, the event on Saturday is from, what, 6 to 7? There'll be a little
6
preview.
to 7, we're going to do a dedication of the History Project. And it's really, you know, I think we've talked about this project for most of this year, and I think people may have had an idea of what we were doing, but the reactions that we saw at the press event this week, just really, I think people are going to be blown away when they see this. And it was exciting for us to learn information about the theater that we didn't know and that we've represented here. And so, yeah, that'll be Saturday, Saturday at 6. Anybody can come down. You don't need a ticket to the show. Boney James goes on at 8 o'clock if you want to see the concert. But you can come down to the dedication for free on Saturday night. We're also going to be part of an open house, and I believe it's the 19th and 20th, but the Art Walk weekend in Durham.
Okay.
The Carolina Theater, the Convention Center, and the Arts Council, all three of us are throwing open our doors to the public so people can come in and see the renovations that have been done in all three buildings.
Cool.
Well, they're just spectacular in the Carolina Theater. I can't imagine anybody else's building getting as much as you guys did in the way of visible upgrades.
And they're going to be blown away.
I
my face hurt when I left.
We had the Jello grin. It's like,
I
wow.
smiled. And I was telling Aaron that when they reopened in the 90s, I was there for the local radio station there, and we did an event the first week that they opened. I believe actually it was opening night when we opened. I don't remember the concert, but I was just so tickled because it was like, wow, I'm a part of history. And then to walk in and see that picture of the construction on the wall from that period, I was like, oh, man, he really is part of history.
Yep.
And anybody who's ever been in Durham or through Durham to look at those historic pictures and say, okay, now where is this angle and this is there? Is that really that building?
Actually, that's one of the things that we're the most excited about when people come in and see this exhibit is that we've been able to take it beyond our walls. We, as you saw, we have an aerial shot from the 1920s. We think it was 1925. And we've identified buildings that are prominent in that photo, and we've marked them with numbers, and at the bottom is a rail, and we go into the backstory of 6 major buildings around us. And I think it just really helps to place us in context and helps people, even more than just thinking of us as a historic building, to really see what Durham looked like back then, and the fact that there were houses across the street from us. In that photo on the wall, there's a horse-drawn carriage out behind the back of the Carolina Theater over what's now the Arts Council.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep, it's just really, it's so great for us to see.
Well, we're just glad to be a part of the community that's supporting the arts. And this is Durham's theater. It's owned in part by the city, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's owned by the city. Okay. And my organization is a private nonprofit that manages it. We have a management agreement with the city to run the building, to provide, not only the kind of the great pop and jazz and R&B concerts that we do, but we do an arts education series that brings in over 15,000 students a year, and we're working to expand our educational program. And so we have a really strong performing arts mission, in addition to the big names that get people's attention, and so that's a priority for us. And so we really are a community resource, not just because the city owns the building, but even because of what we do here.
Well, sounds like mission very close to being accomplished here. We're just proud to know you again.
Yep.
Thank you, Bob, so much for taking a couple of minutes to tell us the rest of the story.
Thanks. And while I'm on, I actually wanted to give you guys a little sneak preview of something we haven't announced publicly yet.
Okay.
We have Eric Benet coming back to the Carolina Theater February 9th.
Oh, February 9th.
Yep.
Happy birthday to me. Wow,
yeah,
Eric Benet.
February 9th. Tickets are going to go on sale November 11th.
That is so great, Bob. I'm turning 50. You got Eric Benet for my birthday party. How cool.
Wow.
And everybody heard it here first.
There you go.
Great.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks so much for that.
Well, man, Bob, you've said so much. We're just sitting here grinning.
Jelly faces again.
It hurt. I'm gonna make you pay for this.
We just really appreciate your support and your interest, and thanks for having me on.
No problem at all, Bob. You take care of yourself. We'll see you later on.
Great, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh man, girl,
That is so
Eric Benet.